Hi, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about various ways in which we can retrieve the elements from the collection we have discussed so far. So we have discussed about list, stack, queues and map and set to. So let's one by one discuss how to retrieve the elements from them. Okay, so let's start with list. Okay, so list integer list equal to, we create a simple array list. Okay, and list dot add 21, list dot add 43, list dot add 10. Okay, and we add, let's add 4 elements up to this 32, right? Now if we simply print this list, it's not getting the elements. We are just printing the list and fetching a list, and it's displaying a list that shows how many elements are there in the list. Okay, but we want each element one by one so that we can do some operations on those elements. So the first way is, so let's discuss one by one how to do that. So first way is our traditional for loop. Okay, so for loop, as you know, we have to use a index variable I equal to 0, I less than list dot size I plus plus, and just sys out list dot get I. Okay, now get method is a seem get that those elements for us. We just need to specify a variable of type of the data type of our list. So we are using integer variable, so it's better to use integer. We can also use int, but it's preferable to use int integer class, and then we can just write this I. Here one by one the elements will be fetched. Okay, so if we run this, so again we are getting the list. Fine. Okay, let's look at now the third way. Okay, so the third way is using iterator interface. Okay, now iterator interface also provides us the methods to use which we can to retrieve the elements of the list. So how do we do that? So iterator, we have to specify the data type, that is integer. We have to, so we have created a reference variable of type iterator. Now iterator is a interface. We have to get the object of it. So to get the object, we write list dot iterator. This gives us the object of the iterator. Now we use here while loop. So we say it dot has next and s out it dot next. Okay, now what it means, first let's understand. It dot has not is a condition which gives a boolean true or false. Now initially this reference variable points to a null value. Okay, now when we or to a null, or you can say that just before the index list, in list the index starts from 0. Okay, so you can say that at the initial the it variable points to the hypothetical index or to -1. Okay, now as it says it dot has next, means it checks that whether the next one is, whether the next element is having the is present or not. If it is present, then it prints the next. Now basically how it works is that it actually stores the address to the memory address of the first element of the list, and then checks whether it has some element or is it null. Okay, in some of the collection the null is allowed, so it returns true for null. In some collection null is not allowed, so it doesn't returns true, it returns false. Okay, so this is how we use iterator, and if we run it we get the same. Okay, so this is how iterator is done. Let's talk about a fourth way. Now this fourth way is using for each loop. Now what is for each loop? Now till now we have seen the three loops: for loop, for loop which is enhanced version, and iterator interface which uses a while loop. All these loops are not dependent on anything. They are not methods, or they are not they are external thing. Okay, that Java programming language itself provides. But this for each loop is not independent. We apply on collection. So if we apply on list for each, okay, now you can see that for each requires a consumer object. Okay, now consumer is a special type of interface which has one method, and that, or one abstract method. That one abstract method requires a argument, and it returns nothing. Okay, its return type is void, and it accepts one argument. So let's give it a argument n or I. Let's give it a, and we use a lambda expression, and then we use sysout and I, and we print that. Okay, so this is one way in which we can retrieve the elements. So you can see we have again got the elements of the list. Now this is the most useful way, because it has very higher number of applications and it is very easy to write the code. Now about the lambda expressions and this for each loop we will discuss in some other videos. So till then you can just understand that this, here we give a argument and here we write the expression. Okay, if there are more arguments, we write them in the brackets. If there are more expression, we write them in curly braces. We write in a block. Okay, so this is the how we can iterate the list. Now the same way as we have discussed in the four methods, we can iterate set, we can iterate queue, and we can iterate stack. Okay, the iterating type is same as list, right? So you can try all the loops, all these methods, all these ways of retrieving the elements by on these types, on these interfaces. Okay, now let's talk about map. Map is a part of collection framework, but it is not a collection because it doesn't extends the collection interface, and therefore it doesn't extends iterable interface. But since we know that map, we can get a collection view of the map. So through the collection view of the map, we can iterate the map also. So let's first get a map, okay, of type integer key value pair both as integer, map equal to new hash map. Okay, let's add some elements into it. So let's add 1 comma 23 map dot put, okay, 2 comma 4 map dot put 100 comma 0 map dot put 45 comma 67, right? Now if we just print this, so what we will get, if we print the map, we get, okay, we get a map view of the our map hash map. Okay, now we want to iterate and we want to get independently the key and the value. So the first is the first way. First way is for loop enhanced. Now since the map doesn't have the index, especially this hash map, we can't use a traditional for loop by way of getting them through index. So we have to use an enhanced for loop. In enhanced for loop, we need to first, before we get to iterate the map, we need to get the collection view of the map. So for that, we have to use a special interface, a variable of a special interface, that is map.entry. We have to define the key value pair type data type here, a variable of the map.entry interface, and then on what we have to, now we have to next specify on what type of collection we are going to iterate. So we are going to iterate on type map.entry set. Okay, now map.entry set gives us a set view of map. Okay, so since set is, or set interface is a part of collection, or set interface extends collection interface, therefore we can now iterate the map. So we simply write m dot get key plus m dot get value. Now if we run this, we get independently their keys and values. Okay, there is one more method, that is second way. Now the second way is a bit weird, not to be used, but you should know, maybe in some way it can be useful in some situations, using iterator. Okay, now here in iterator we can specify integer. Okay, it equal to, now what we have to specify, now if we say map.entry set, then we have to take an iterator of type map.entry or map of type entry, but we want to get the map of collection type. So we get map.keyset. Okay, and map.keyset gives us a set, and on set we can write iterator. Okay, now what we have to do, now we have to do the same as we have done for in the case of list dot has next. Now here, since we just not have to print the keys, we also have to print the values. So we first have to store the key somewhere. So I store the key in this variable I dot next, we store it, and then what we will do, we print it. Now to get the value, map provides a method map.get, and we have to pass key, so we pass the key. Now we will get the value. This is another way in which we can iterate the map. Okay, So again we get the same results. Now there is a third way also. So let's comment it out. Third way is using the for each loop. Okay. Now how the for each loop works? Map dot for each. Now it needs a object of type by consumer. Now when we were taking the object of type consumer, it was accepting one argument. Now since it is by consumer, by means 2, so we need to pass 2 arguments. So how we pass 2 arguments? We first put a bracket, then we say key comma val. You can specify any value, any variable name, and then you can just sys out key and val. Okay, I forgot to concatenate. Okay, now if you run this code, it will also give the same result. Okay, great. So we have seen that there are various ways in which we can iterate the collections, or we can retrieve the elements from the collection one by one, and we can perform certain operations also. Now in the upcoming videos we will discuss some problems on collections, and we will be using stream API. We will be using various functionalities of Java 8. We will be using various functionalities of Java 10 also. So, and we will also, and don't worry about this Lambda expression or any of the stream API thing. I will tell you each and everything in detail, and you will understand it. You just have to understand it and how to use it, so you can solve the problem. Our main goal is to understand the problem and solve the problem in an efficient manner. Okay, so that's our goal. So we will be doing this from the next video. So that's all for this video, and till then, bye bye.